More calls tonight to deploy our National Guard troops back to the border. The Obama administration said it is actually thinking about that move at some time in the apparently not near future. Border state lawmakers want action now. They say the violence as a result of Mexico's warring drug cartels is a threat to this country's security. Casey Wyan has our report from the U.S.-Mexican border near San Diego.
With mounting evidence that Mexican drug cartel violence is threatening the United States, a dozen Republican lawmakers have written President Barack Obama to request that the National Guard be redeployed to the U.S.-Mexico border. Then President George W. Bush sent the National Guard to the border from 2006 through last year to give the Border Patrol time to hire 6,000 additional agents. President Obama told reporters Wednesday, quote, "We're going to examine whether and if National Guard deployments would make sense and in what circumstances they would make sense as part of this overall review of our border situation."
As the President said yesterday, we very much do not want to militarize our border. So that is essentially a last resort, but we're planning for it if it becomes necessary.
Some border state lawmakers say there's no time to wait.
I don't think any American was taken back by Mexico sending troops to the border to try to secure their side. I don't see any reason why any American or Mexican should feel any differently about America defending our side of the border and securing our responsibility to our neighbors to make sure our side of the border is not being used by the cartel.
Mexico has often bristled at U.S. efforts to boost border security and at statements by U.S. officials that Mexico has lost control of much of its territory to drug cartels.
Si los Estados Unidos no fuese el mayor mercado de drogas.
If the United States were not the largest drug market in the world, we would not have this problem. If they were to take their obligation to enforce their own laws that prohibit the exportation of U.S. firearms to Mexico more seriously, the tenor of the battle would be completely different.
With so much focus on disagreements, a joint strategy to deal with the drug cartel violence is proving elusive. A spokeswoman for Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano says she will respond directly to the lawmakers who are requesting National Guard troops on the border. As I'm sure you'll remember, Lou, as governor of Arizona, Napolitano often pleaded with President Bush for that exact same thing. Lou?
Yes, but at the same time, she was adamantly pro-amnesty, pro-illegal alien. I mean, she plays a political game, and she's continuing that, it appears, in national office. This business about militarizing the border. We have troops in, Okinawa, Japan, Germany, South Korea. Any preference there about militarizing entire nations with our presence, if that's the way one militarizes?
And especially when there's a clear, direct military threat across, and non-military drug cartel threat across our border with Mexico. Not only do we have increasing evidence of cartel violence all along the border in the United States, you occasionally have evidence that the Mexican military has crossed over onto our side of the border. Did any of
those lawmakers say, about militarizing the border? Did any of them say, should we continue to accept the collateral damage to our nation's youth of destroyed and devastated lives as a result of the fact that Mexico remains the principal source of methamphetamines, marijuana, heroin, and cocaine? Why doesn't anybody ask that question?
I'm not sure, Lou, but it's clearly a concern by many Republican lawmakers who say the Department of Homeland Security and the Obama administration's position that we're going to evaluate border security operations and sort of take a wait-and-see attitude and wait until the Border Patrol is overwhelmed, wait until local law enforcement is overwhelmed. They say that's a real bad strategy, that we need to be proactive and get troops on the border now before the situation gets out of control.
Well, I've got a proposition that I'll reiterate for the Obama administration. Here's the deal. If you want to bring home troops, bring them home from Korea, from Germany, Okinawa, Japan, around the world. Bring them home from Iraq. Bring them home from as many as we possibly can from Afghanistan. Bring them here to secure the border. And you'll also at the same time be fighting the most imminent threat to this country's public and security and safety. That is by stopping drug trafficking, the flow of illegal aliens and terrorists across that border, potentially. There's a thought for you in which everything would come together. One comprehensive approach, Mr. President. Just a thought for you. Casey, thank you very much. Casey Wyan. That brings us to the subject of our poll tonight. Do you believe we should bring our troops home from around the world to protect America? Or should we continue to allow the wide open flow of illicit drugs, illegal aliens, and perhaps terrorists across our borders and through our ports? Let me see. Which should it be? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll have the results here later.